and we get to bring in our first guest. You know her as the leader of the Washington Huskies, and as she told us a moment ago before we came on the air, she's a Big Ten coach now. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington head coach Heather Tarr. Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Coach Tarr. Wow, what a start for your squad this season. Best start in program start in conference play. And just so fun to watch. Was able to watch you all out in Palm Springs and just to see kind of the role that you're going on. What's different about this team?
Well, we had a rebuild last year. I mean, that goes without saying. I'm sure people that are watching know that we went through a bunch of transfers and all that kind of stuff. So we had to kind of start fresh last year, which was great. We got to rebuild some things and kind of recraft our identity. And I think what's different about this group than last year's group, we had no reference points last year. So when we wanted to talk about like, oh, remember this, or oh, remember that, we had nobody to remember this or that. And so now we have those reference points. Of course, our end of last year was shorter than we wanted, only making it through the Saturday of a regional, which was not something that we are used to doing, but certainly we were hungry and ready for, more. And this group is ready for more. It's just more of like, how high can the ceiling be for this group? And we think it's a pretty high ceiling, but for us, it's just trying to keep in perspective some of the successes, some of the failures, and just keep going on track where we're trying to go.
What did you learn about the team this weekend? Because going to Ann Arbor is never easy. You had 3 tight games against the Michigan Wolverines, and you found a way to win all 3. What did that show you about the makeup and the grit of this squad?
Yeah, I think we're also settling in on our lineup, and it's evolved since the beginning of the year. But I think we're really deep. We're deeper than we have been, which is great. And the freshmen and the younger players that are really contributing up and down the lineup is very hopeful. It's very exciting. And yeah, the ability to respond is important to us. And this group has that ability. Of course, playing on the road in the Big Ten for us, all of these things are new. So this group, I mean, only I have had the experience of being in Michigan, and that was in 2005 at a super regional, my first year as a head coach. So Hutch reminded me of that, or we had a good exchange after our first game. She came and said hi, which was kind of fun. But yeah, playing on the road, you don't know what you're going to get from the weather aspect. You don't know really how it feels to play the other teams in this conference. So every experience for all of us is new, but for our players, it's new. It's not like we have a whole bunch of existing players that played in the Pac-12 their freshman year. So for all of us, we're just loving the experience of going through it all together.
And Coach Tarr, we talk a lot about Alexis DeBoer, but the entire offense as a whole really picked up the pitching staff this past weekend. What has been the motto, or what has the mentality been at the plate for the Huskies this year? Because it's not just one, it's multiple bats up and down the lineup.
Yeah, I think just for us, we're really trying to grow our process and how we go about being an offensive member of our team, whether that be your role in the moment, your role as who you are as a hitter type. I think collectively we need to be an offense, and I think we're growing into that, where it's not just one person is the offense or 2 people with experience are the offense. So for us, we've grown into just really learning ourselves and learning what the top half of the lineup looks like, what does the bottom half of the lineup looks like, but then ultimately the game dictates what your role is in the game. So all of those things have been fun to grow and learn and figure out as we're going along here. Certainly we're going to go into tougher territories, and it gets deeper and harder for us, but it's awesome because those things we learn all the lessons that we're going to need to learn for a great postseason run.
I'm sure that Tara will ask about Morgan Reimer, but I want to ask about my boy Brad Kilpatrick, the pitching coach, who I got to meet in Vegas at convention, and I got to hear his story and all the places that he's been and all the things he's experienced as a guy that's younger than me. And I'm curious, as a head coach, how much you've enjoyed watching Brad grow into this role, but also watching him develop pitchers like Morgan Reimer and Sophia Ramuno and the rest of this pitching staff the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, Brad's definitely young, but very bright. he has a lot to offer, both just who he is as a person, but also he pitches still. And so a lot of those, street creds that he does have, like they're there. So he can have these little battles with these gals, and it's kind of funny because he can still pitch too. And I don't think I've ever really witnessed something like that. Certainly like a former pitcher in the collegiate game, you'd see, maybe that, but the banter is funny. But I think, any of us, we're going to be able to succeed when the players are bought in and they're equally invested. And what he's been able to do and what the pitching staff has been able to do is just invest themselves in their work and their craft. And, the better they do, the better we look. And it's fun that way. But Brad's a fun guy, and he's certainly an.
Uh-oh.
We lost her.
We lost Coach Tarr for a minute. All right, here we go.
She's
We're back.
I'm
Okay.
back. Okay.
Chicago said, "Come on now, Coach."
Anyways, but Brad's fun, and he's got a lot of room to grow. And Coach Glass and I right now are even just, we're just trying to figure out how to continue to grow our group and use our experience to help our younger coaches and our younger players just keep thriving and getting better.
And as Grace said, I will ask you about Morgan Reimer, a 1.49 ERA. She's 17-1 on this season. Pretty impressive stats there for Reimer. What have you seen in her growth this year?
I think anytime a pitcher gets the experience over the summertime at the highest level that you can in the international scene benefits everybody. She was around, Coach Rafter and her staff with Team Canada all summer, learning and trying to figure out ways to win. And Morgan was a part of, a win that Canada beat Japan this summer, which is pretty foundational for them as a program, but also for Morgan as a young pitcher. So she has a work ethic like you would expect a, aspiring Olympic athlete. She does all the things that you would expect an athlete like that to do and more, which is pretty crazy. So she definitely puts the work in. She has a good rapport with Brad, and we've won close games with her. We've won crazy games with her, and she's coming in different roles and play different parts. But certainly she's sharpening her tools, and she's getting better and better. And it's pretty fun to see her kind of come into like more of like a dominating atmosphere, like who she is as a person, because I think she's kind of unassuming looking from the outside in as a person. She's super competitive. She cares a lot, but sometimes, like on her face, she's not that expressive. Certainly you've been able to see her come out of her shell a little bit, but it's really neat to see her evolve. That's for sure.
Last thing for me, Coach, this is a heck of a road trip that you're on. You just played at Michigan. You've got a 3-game series coming up at Iowa. You're playing at Loyola Chicago on Tuesday, I believe. And I think your next home game is April 10th. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, first off, how much do you and the staff enjoy getting to stay together on a road trip like this and keep building camaraderie? But also, how much does this prepare you for, what might be coming down the road, postseason? That can be a long time away from home. The World Series is 2 weeks now. How much do you utilize this time as a learning opportunity in all facets for the team?
Yeah, the team, first, we're like pretty well organized. So how we operate from our director of ops through the coaches, like everything's pretty well set up. So, having like 4-star breakfasts and dinners and all that kind of stuff in a city like Chicago, like we do it well. And so our gals are experiencing like a little bit of Chicago today, which is something like they'd never be able to do in seasons past. So that's really fun. And then building out our schedule to try to pick up a midweek to build some games is great. And then, we get to go on to Iowa to play them, which we've never played there before either. So, and then of course we get to go home again. So that's always fun to play in our, home environment. So we just get kind of used to the like routines that we're in. And I think this team really loves each other, and they love the opportunities to just continue to be around each other a lot. And I think when you're on the road, it protects everybody from themselves, where you're not in your own little world. So we love being on the road, and we're good at being on the road for sure.
Wait, so what are you doing? What's the Chicago
I knew you were
thing
going to
that
ask
you're
that.
doing?
Like, Gray wants
Is
to
it
know
pizza?
food, where
Yeah,
you're
where are you
going,
going?
everything.
You know
I'm
what's
like,
funny
oh my goodness.
is you know, I'm from Seattle, so of course I should always support Starbucks, but I go to like the craft coffee places. I don't like to go to the like Starbucks, but that's where they want to go. They want to go to the Starbucks Reserve on the Magnificent Mile and just go check it out. But it was like 32 degrees, feels like 18 when we got into the hotel last night. So we're like, do not leave the hotel yet. So they're going out there today and we're going to practice today, but it's super fun and they make the best of it. So they want to go to the Bean too.
Mm.
Oh yeah, you got to go to the Bean. Well, Coach Tarr, thank you so much for being here. Stay warm out there in Big Ten country. Love that jacket, and thanks so much for hopping on with us today. Best of luck the rest of
Appreciate
this
you
week
guys.
and the season. Thanks.
Thank you guys.